Wednesday. We are back. We are here. We are happy to chat with you. So excited to have everybody here today. As you come on in, say hi, say hello, tell us what you're working on, what you're doing. It's always great to chat with you guys. Hi, Chris. Happy Wednesday. It is wonderful to have you here. We are going to have a special guest today, so we're going to bring her in just a moment. I'm super excited to get to share this one. A nice little collaboration that we had going on that we can finally share about. I mean, we could have shared a little bit ago, but till we get to it. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I want to remind people we are at the end of the month. So that means today is the last day to go ahead and save 20% off of Hawthorne yarn. That is our yarn of the month. So go ahead and stock up on that. We also have the Marley Bird pattern sale because she is our featured designer of the month. So you can check out her patterns as well. And don't forget, as it says at the bottom, to like and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, you can do that over on YouTube. And you can like us over on Facebook. We're streaming in both places. And don't forget to go check us out on Instagram. We're there too. We put a lot of stuff in, and we're super excited about it. Okay. Without any further ado, let me bring my guest in for today, the one, the only, Lee Sartori of Coco Crochet Lee. Hi, Lee.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a while since we've had you on. I think it was like last year already. But we are so happy to have you back and to get to share what we can share now. This has been going on for a while. So if people don't know, when there's projects going on in the industry, a lot of times, like there's conversations on the back end to get yarn, to get things going, but we can't share with anybody. And then it like builds up and builds up and builds up. And then we get to tell everybody. And it is super, super exciting. But we're here to talk about Crochet, Lee's brand new book, the Pokemon Crochet Volume 2 or Book 2. There was a first book. Lee was wonderful and did the second book. We're going to talk all about it, what else Lee has going on, where you can find Lee, everything else. We are so excited. So Lee, if you don't mind, maybe just take us back a little bit and tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started, maybe where you are now, anything you want to share about your business that we can start off with before we dive into the new book.
Sure. So I'm originally from Ontario, Canada, but we just moved to Halifax last year. It's been about a year and a half. I am a crochet designer full-time. That's my complete and only job. And I started off just kind of doing my own thing on the side, but now I mostly design custom patterns for companies based on IPs. So that means like copyright. So what happens is like the major company will buy the copyrights or the rights for something, and then they ask me to be the designer behind it. So I have a year-long contract going for that right now behind the scenes that I can't really share too much about. So pretty much everything that I do in my life at the moment and for the past handful of years is like work in secret and then be like, it's done, here you go.
Yeah.
It's really fun though. So I really enjoy it. And it's a really interesting way to make a living, that's for sure.
It definitely is. And it's different than a lot of other designers that are out there because a lot of other designers are much more forward facing, so to speak, and they're putting out designs all the time. And for you, they're not coming out as often, but then you've got like a big dump of patterns that come out in a book or a big project that you're working with other people on that all comes out at one time. So it is just a different way to run the same, not the same, but a crochet business. And that's really what it is. So you're not just a designer. Let's give you the full credit. You are a social media expert. You are an email person. You are everything that goes into running a business is all there and on point. And we love everything that you're doing. We're so happy we get to work with you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. And you're right. It means that I have had to kind of step back from doing like the really fast-paced like designs on the blog for free every single week that I used to keep up with. And so sometimes it kind of feels like I'm withdrawn from like the blogger community a little bit, but in the end, like this is the kind of work that I enjoy doing the most. So I get a lot of satisfaction out of it. And then at the end, I have, something really important to share with, like a book or a collection. So it ends up the weight makes it hard, and then the payoff is really worth it.
Right, right. Chris says you are a designer extraordinaire, and I couldn't agree more. We did put the link in there to check out Lee's website, so you can go there. You'll find all the social media stuff, everything you need to know, stay up to date with Lee and what is going on. We should say that this, now I'm going to mess this up. This is now your fourth, or not the fourth book, but now you have 4 books that you have been a part of or published entirely of you.
Right.
The first one was all about textures, which, guys, we are bringing that book over to our website. We have the order in. It's supposed to be coming soon. So it's a really great book all about different textures that you can stitch up and learn about. So we'll talk about that too in the future as soon as we get it. It's just on its way. Lee's second book was the Harry Potter collection. So that's kind of what she was talking about with the licensing, that she was working on all of the Harry Potter projects there. We put a link in there and they are awesome. I don't know. I think my favorite though was the sorting hat. I mean, it
I love
looks
the sorting hat.
identical. It was great.
Yeah. I was working on that in 2020 during the pandemic. And so the world stopped, and I basically just like hyper focused on the sorting hat and Dobby and made them like as realistic as I possibly could, because it was such a good distraction from what 2020 was, which was very scary at the time, right? So it was, those are both like my favorite projects from that book for sure.
They are very great. I love them. I mean, I have to fully admit, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I've read all the books, you know, I've watched some of the movies. I would go do all the Harry Potter stuff once type of thing. But that book just really knocked me off my feet with how like exact things are, that they really looked like they came out of the movie or out of the book. And you did it with your crochet hook, which is really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a really, really fun project. And again, you know, going back, thinking that was 3 years ago that I was working on that, and, you know, to have come so far from that already just within a handful of years, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. You know, one of the cool things too about you doing these big collections and these books is it really is like that time capsule of, this is the year I did it. This is what happened. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but I'll put on like a CD or I'll hear a song and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this takes me back to high school, my senior year when I was working this job and I was going here. And like all these memories are associated with things. And it's really great as like a time capsule.
It's so true. The other book that we were going to talk about is the Friends crochet book that just came out. And I worked on that one the entire time that we were moving away for the first time from Ontario to Halifax. And it was essentially what you were saying, like a physical time capsule of like that important moment in our life, you know? And even, you know, working with my editor on that one and being able to, because a lot of these projects are so secret that the only one you can talk to is the editor. So just having those conversations with her about moving, and it's in the dedication of that book about, you know, about that whole journey. And it really is a huge part of the book itself.
Yeah. And we should say the Friends book is her 4th book that she worked on. And it's all projects around the theme of Friends, the TV show. So if you know and love that show, you can go check that out.
I can show you.
I just said we got to go figure out how to get that one on our site too. So that should be coming soon. But yeah, so you can see there all the projects around Friends. They're super cute. Even I loved how even like Phoebe's fur jacket kind of got in there in its own way, type of thing. So it's really great. They're great pieces and little things that you can tie Friends into your everyday life to kind of keep that rolling. Chris says, when you measure time that way, so like by songs or by writing and stuff like that, it's crazy how fast the years seem to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all of these projects are definitely a time capsule situation, and they have a lot of memories. So it's pretty neat.
That is awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about this book.
This is
I have a Pokemon book. If you love Pokemon, or hopefully everybody knows, I mean, it's been around forever, the whole Pokemon Go craze where people were walking around trying to catch the Pokemon and everything else. I mean, so the funny thing is my brother was like the first age group to kind of have Pokemon over 30 years ago, right?
Okay.
And now my kids are getting into the Pokemon and everything. I'm like, how is this still around 30 years later? But thank you to my brother for keeping all of his stuff, or maybe my
Oh,
mom. Now
wow.
I don't have to buy all the stuff for my kids.
Amazing. That's a really cool collection if you have older things.
Yeah, yeah. But so in the book here, there are 20 of the characters. So do you remember how many were in the first book? Were there also 20 in there?
Right. So, Pokemon is an amazing universe, and they actually don't. They like to be called just Pokemon. So they're not really like characters or boys or girls necessarily. They're just literally like Pokemon, and they only ever say Pokemon. So it's been really interesting this year to work with the company and learn so much more because I grew up as a mega fan. I used to run home from grade school with my friend, and we would watch the cartoon and watch Ash go on his journey with Misty and Brock and, catch
Yep.
the Pokemon. And I've been a fan since the original cartoon came out. And then I have four older brothers. So somebody was always playing the next, version of the game on Game Boy and
Yep.
everything. So we grew up just being pretty much obsessed, and that happens a lot when you have such a close knit group of siblings, and they were all boys. So
Yeah.
I'm in love with a lot of fandoms, but Pokemon seem to be like more mine than theirs.
Yeah.
So so when Pokemon and David and Charles, the publishing house, reached out to ask if I would do this, I was so excited because they gave me leeway to they had some suggestions of some Pokemon that they would be interested in seeing in the book, but they
Mhm.
also let me choose
That's
some ones that
awesome.
I yeah that I wanted to do. So I got to pick Mimikyu, which is Team Rocket's Pokemon that they have in the show. There's just like a whole bunch of different ones where I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this one. I really want to do this Pokemon.
Yeah.
And to be able to just kind of geek out about it was it was very exciting for me and even for my kids too because they're big fans as well. So
Yeah.
it was really really fun to like start the process with the Pokemon team and with the publishers.
That is awesome. Yeah, like doing something like this, you get totally immersed into their world, which
Yeah.
is different from our world, which is so much fun because it really is, it's not just a brand or a name or a
Mhm.
show. It really is like a culture
A fandom. Yeah,
of all these
absolutely.
people who are loving it. And they make such great gifts too. Like, even if you're not into it, like to make gifts for your grandkids or, things like that. These are really awesome. And they're all, what is the total size of all of these? Like, or
So
around your average size?
the original Pokemon that I made for the book were made with fingering weight yarn, and I actually teamed up with WeCrochet because you have an amazing color line in the palette
Mhm.
um, yarn line, and I was asked to work with fingering weight yarn because the first book was made with fingering weight yarn, so it just ended up working out perfectly. That palette had absolutely every color that we needed. And the Pokemon, because it's so important to match the right colors,
Mhm.
they were very really interested in getting those colors as close as possible to each
Right.
Pokemon. And that was perfect because the team at WeCrochet was able to send me the yarn guide with all the swatches, and I was able to match everything perfectly. And it was just a fantastic team up because it worked out so well. So yeah, we got all of those colors matched and everything, and but now I'm kind of given away all of my original Pokemon, which were about 10 to 12 centimeters tall, and
Okay.
I'm remaking them all. So
Oh,
the one that I
no.
made is a little bit bigger yarn, and they're turning out bigger now, obviously because the yarn is a little bit bigger
Right.
than fingering weight. So if you're afraid of fingering weight, because it's an amigurumi pattern, you don't necessarily have to use fingering weight. It'll just
Right.
end up being bigger than the original size in the book. So that's
Right.
one that's made with medium weight instead.
I love it. I did see that, reel over on, I think it was on Instagram I saw,
Yeah,
maybe Facebook, I don't know. It was somewhere that I saw you making the pieces and putting it
yeah,
together. I loved it so much.
right. Yeah, the publishing house has the original Pokemon that I made from the book. I gave all 20 to them, so they're pretty
Nice.
excited.
Oh, that's awesome. And if you didn't see the link go in there, we put a link for palette, and guess what? That's going to be our monthly yarn sale starting tomorrow. So we're giving you a little insider there. So you can grab all of the yarn that you're going to need. If you want to make it in the fingering weight, you'll be able to get it 20% off. And yeah, Palette has a ton of colors. So you can match things perfectly no matter what you're making. And they just worked out so well for these in the book.
Yeah, it couldn't have worked out better. The colors, the available colors that are in Palette, just fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to pick, like, I don't know. I don't have a favorite one myself, but my kids are always talking about Mew, and I know that's in this book.
Yeah.
And they like Cinder Race, so I'm sure they would like Score Bunny, because isn't this
I
like
love Score Bunny. Score Bunny's
Cinder
so
Race,
good.
right?
Score Bunny was actually one of the first Pokemon that I got almost exactly right on the first try.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that was like a really big win for me during the experience of working on this for a year, because when Pokemon came back and said like, wow, great job on this one, like we don't have very many notes, I was like, what? So it was a really good like experience. I'm very fond of him because he really came, or that Pokemon really came through for me. I feel like Score Bunny and I are buddies now.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many cute ones, and I do love too, excuse me, how some of them are so like detailed in here, and all the different pieces that you need. And they're just like so true to the character. You did a phenomenal job. Regardless of how many times it took you to do each one, they turned out absolutely amazing. They look like they jumped right out of the TV screen, and you can just hold them and make them yourself. They are wonderful.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So we should also say that while we're live here, Lee also does a live, her Whip Wednesdays, which, guys, today's Wednesday, so there's a Whip Wednesday. And one of the greatest things about Whip Wednesday, other than just getting to chat with Lee and chat with everybody else, is she does this thing where you can be entered in to win a custom creation for yourself. So I'm going to have Lee tell a little bit about this. And I have to say, so far, I mean, I've kind of missed some of the Whip Wednesdays, but my favorite so far that I have seen has definitely been the Hocus Pocus book.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that turned out amazing. And we're big Hocus Pocus like fans in our family and stuff. So that one was really, really cool. But so why don't you tell us a little bit about how Whip Wednesday works, how people can join, how they can potentially enter into grabbing a custom made by Coco Crochet Lee project as well.
Sure. So we've been doing Whip Wednesday on my Facebook page for about maybe 5 years now. And I try to hit every single Wednesday. Sometimes we take a little bit of a break depending on what's going on. But so we chat, obviously, but recently Facebook introduced the ability for people to send stars to support their favorite creators on social media. And so because I was accumulating stars, which is monetized, I was trying to think of a way to be able to give back to the people who are sending those in. So what we do is if you send any denomination of stars throughout the live video during an entire month at any point, your name gets entered into a draw for a custom order giveaway. So when if your name gets picked from, the people who sent stars, you have the option of having anything that you want made. So we've made, like you said, the one person that won was Nikki, and she picked the Hocus Pocus book, which was such a fantastic idea. We've done David Bowie from the Labyrinth. We've done a couple Harry Potter characters. There's been quite a few that were really incredible. But the fun thing is that it's basically whatever you want within reason. So it can be something that they just don't even have around anymore. It can be something from your childhood. It could even be a Pokemon from the Pokemon book. You could, pick one that you think is great, and I would make it for you if you won, if that was what you wanted. So awesome. It's just a really cool way to give back, and it's fun for me too.
Yeah, there's a Nikki Nicole here, so maybe that's the Nikki you were talking about. Said the Hocus Pocus book is her favorite too, with a wink. So now that makes sense where the wink came from. And Francis said, I won a custom from Lee, and Lee made me the Holly Hobby doll. That's so awesome.
That one was a really hard one because Holly Hobby is more of like a traditional like fabric doll. Like she's like a rag doll. And her clothing is really iconic, and it's material. Like it's not something you would crochet. So I had to actually use a little bit of my non-existent sewing skills. And it turned out really good though. I really was happy with that one. Hi, Fran.
Yeah, there you go. It definitely stretches you outside of the
Yeah,
box because it's what other people are thinking of, not necessarily what you might think of
right.
for design or whatever book or
Yeah,
project you're working on. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
awesome. So what time is Whip Wednesday, and is it just on Facebook, or where would they be able to follow along for that?
So it's usually at 2 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, which I believe is 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
So we're actually gonna hop to it after this live video is over. We're gonna
Let me
hop
know.
into Whip Wednesday, and we're actually doing the custom order giveaway because it's the end of the month. So
Nice.
Nikki Nicole is in there, just so you know,
Yay!
Nikki. So we're gonna be doing that in a few minutes. Actually, it's really
That
fun.
is awesome. So, guys, as soon as we end here, hop on
Yeah.
over, follow Whip Wednesday, check it out, and maybe you can be entered in to win one of the months of a special custom prize. We love it so much. So, is there anything upcoming that you can share with us? I know there's probably projects you're working on that you can't share, but is there any kind of teaser you want to talk about, or any other projects that are coming up soon that people can know about for now?
Right now I am under contract and I can't talk about it. And there are some other opportunities floating around also that I can't talk about, but I'm really happy to be able to include WeCrochet along the way. So although I don't have a lot of, the blogger patterns up on the WeCrochet site right now, I hope that the collections using like WeCrochet yarn mean just as much to people and fans as those like quicker free patterns and things like that. I do enjoy doing those, but my heart calls to these artistic projects, and
They're amazing, and
yeah,
you truly are an artist to be able to take yarn and turn it into these, like, exact replicas of
yeah.
things. So,
Thank
even though
you.
you're under contract and can't talk about it, when can we start to look for the next thing that you have coming out? Is it gonna be this year, next year? When should people really be focusing in, or just always following along, obviously?
Always follow along because sometimes there's multiple things going on at the same time, so it's hard to say really. But I'm always coming up with new things, and sometimes I do try to sneak in the free pattern. Like we just finished up the limerick tee, which is
Yes,
a we crochet. What was the Lindy chain
yes.
crochet along that
That
we
one
just
turned out
did.
great.
Oh, great! Thank you so much. So maybe we'll be able to get that onto the website for WeCrochet since that's a free blogger pattern. But I try to squeak them in whenever I have some additional time. So always keep an eye out.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure you go back, or we can put the link in again to Lee's website so you can check out her social accounts that you can follow along, and everything else to see what is going on with Lee. And we hope to have her back again as soon as there's another project, because we love sharing what Lee
Oh,
is
thank
working
you.
on. There's so many people saying how much they love you, and they watch Whip Wednesday, and
Aw.
Daisy is saying, come join the Coco Crochet Lee community. I will let you in. You won't be disappointed. So, yes, please go sign up. Nikki is saying that she used We Crochet Comfy for the Limerick tea cow, and it
Oh
was
yes.
perfect.
Nikki
Ooh.
did her limerick tea is like a lighter red and a darker red. It's really beautiful.
Nikki, post it and tag us so we can see. I'd love to see how that turned out, especially in a different yarn. So that's really great. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to make sure we get off of here so that you have a minute or two to go jump
Oh,
on Whip
thank you.
Wednesday. Everybody head on over to Coco Crochet Lee for Whip Wednesday. I know I'm going over to check it out. And make sure you're doing that every Wednesday. It's always great when you kind of have those exact times so people can just jump on to the next thing. So look, here you go. You're going to have a whole block now. Every Wednesday, come to We Crochet, check us out, and then hop right over to Coco Crochet Lee and finish your afternoon with some more great crochet chat.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're also giving away for today for Whip Wednesday, we're giving away a set of the We Crochet dot hooks to the Cal winner. So that's another giveaway that's happening. These hooks are amazing. And Caitlin and I were talking about how you can put a stitch marker in the bottom of them and how
Yeah,
delightful that is.
we love it. Yeah, it's a great way to not lose a stitch marker, because we were
Yep.
saying, like, even though I have 500 of them, I cannot find one when I need one. So it is a really great way to just make sure you always have one with you.
Mhm.
We love the dots hooks. We are so excited. They keep flying off the shelves. We're just putting in another order for more dots hooks.
Nice.
So keep keep buying them, keep loving them, because we love them and we don't want them to go away ever. And so, yeah, thank you so much for joining us and sharing about the book. Please be sure to go check out the Pokemon book, the volume 2. Also, don't forget that all of the patterns in here are using our palette yarn, which is 20% off starting tomorrow. So you have to come back to the website tomorrow to get that yarn. If you're shopping today, you'll get the 20% off of Hawthorn, which is also another great fingering weight yarn that is really perfect. They could actually even make your top, the limerick top, in Hawthorn as well, because Lindy chain is also fingering weight. So that would be a good alternative too. If you didn't want to go Lindy chain, you could pick one of the wonderful Hawthorn colors to go ahead and make your top
Hawthorn
too.
today, palette tomorrow.
Exactly. Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you over in Whip Wednesday in just a little bit.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.